Something a bit different today, and then at first for the channel we're going to be doing a re-review, not easy for me to say, and this is an Alpaca double dry hop IPA from Salt Brewing, reviewed 2 years ago. But is it still great? Keep on watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. We're outside in the garden, the sun is shining, it's definitely summertime. And today we're going to be doing a review of a beer that I reviewed 2 years ago. And it's this beer, Salt Alpacca. Now, when I reviewed it, I gave it a score which seems ridiculously high for a supermarket beer of 87 out of 100. At one point, this was my favourite beer in the supermarkets, and it probably still is, but it hasn't been around for a while. I haven't seen it in... I used to get it from Sainsbury's. They stopped doing it a long while ago, at least a year, maybe 18 months even ago. Wasn't available in any other supermarkets, but then I've noticed it has now appeared back in Asda Supermarkets. £3. And as I said, 87 out of 100. It was a very, very good beer. In fact, if you go back and look at the video that I did 2 years ago, I said that if there was only one type of beer that I could drink for the rest of my life, it'd be something like this, which I think is pretty high praise. But I thought, well, I haven't reviewed a beer more than once on the channel. There's too much beer for me to really do that. But because I haven't had it for a while, I just wonder whether it's still as good. Can work, still green, still got the sort of salt hexagons, hexagon, six-sided sort of honeycomb sort of artwork. And the one thing which, if you remember if you've seen the review or if you look back on it, my peeve with it a little bit was the fact that on the front here, now it says smooth and tropical, where before it said tropical and bitter. And I had a big thing about that, because that could put people off who don't like bitter tasting things, and to be honest, it had no real bitterness at all. So I thought I'm glad that they've taken that off. Maybe they've listened to me and they've said, yeah, we'll take it off, we'll sell more, because I think it will appeal to more people if it hasn't got bitter written on it. 6.6%, I think that's still exactly the same as it was. The description is pretty much the same. I think when I was looking at the back of my review before I did this today, I sort of read some of this stuff, because it still does say tropical hop aroma for its guava, melon and honey notes, crisp and punchy, tropical fruits beautifully balanced with a dry bitter finish. And I think it said dry bitter finish before. What else can I say? Not much more. Let's crack it open and get it in a glass and see if it's still as good. It said £3 in Asda. I'm sure even when I used to buy it in Sainsbury's, it was £3.50. So even better value for money. But I just wonder, the can has changed, time has changed. Is this going to be still good? Obviously after 2 years I still don't know quite how to pour a beer, because I've given that a huge head. Look wise, I think it looks pretty similar. It's orange, it's thick, it's hazy. Forget about the 3.5 finger of head that I've got there. It looks pretty damn good in the glass. Let's see what the aroma's like. Yeah, smells good. Real citrus, orange, peach. Yeah, I'm getting that melon. I mean, before I was saying papaya and passion fruit, citrus. There's definitely it is juicy, fruity. There's more of that sort of peach. Passion fruit is definitely in there. It's just a real sort of mixture of great tropical aromas. Right, the head's gone down a little bit. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone, and happy summer. Still is good. Soft mouthfeel. There's a little bit of prickly carbonation in there, actually. It's soft, but it's got that carbonation that gives it that little more refreshment. And there's a wave of flavours in here. You're getting that sort of melon, that guava sort of flavour. Peach and orange are coming in. There's lemons and other citrus fruits. And then it does finish with a dry, I wouldn't say bitter, but there's a sort of dry, sharp finish like grapefruit, which to me is what you want from a beer. You get all that juice up front, and you get that sort of that finish to the beer. It's a nice level of earthiness as well in there. It's quite a complex sort of beer for a supermarket beer. There's a lot going on in this, but it's still a cracking beer. Would I give it an 87? I don't know if I'd give it an 87. I've had better beers. I think the body, although it's soft, is not as creamy as probably a lot of beers that I've had, bottle shop beers, you know, from the likes of Daya and Verdant and Polly's and even to some extent Beacon, Sure Shot and Asvez recently. It's definitely got lots going for it though. You get that big hit of juice, tropicalness, lots of different types of flavours coming in. Then you're getting that, I'm going to say what it says on the can, you are getting a dry, slightly bitter, sharp finish, but it's a grapefruit sharpness, and it really gives the beer a sort of, you know, a punchline really. It gives it an ending. And I do really like that on a beer. I like to get that juice, the flavour up front, and then I like it to develop as it sort of sits and coats the sort of taste buds. Yeah, the only thing that's different for me, and I don't know what the hops are, and I don't know if they've changed the recipe. For me, there's a lot more sort of, you know, that sort of lemongrass sort of flavour, that sort of, what would you call it? A sort of, I wouldn't say piney, but it's got a much more earthy, grassy sort of finish. And I don't remember it having that sort of grassiness about it before. But maybe, as I say, 2 years. I've only been doing the channel 3 years. 3 years in June just passed. So that was only in my first year of doing it. So I think I've drank a lot more beer since then. Maybe I'm picking out more stuff, but I think that sort of grassy, lemon, citrus, grapefruit is a lot more. There's more emphasis on that, I think, in this beer. It's still cracking though. So if you go to Asda, I think it's probably, I would say that it's the best beer you can buy in Asda. Certainly the ones that I've tried. I've had a couple of reasonably good ones actually, but this still leads the way. It's one of those sort of beers that, because it's a core beer, you know, they've been making it for a long time. If you see it in a pub or you go to a tap room and they've got it on, it's the sort of beer you're going to drink. And if you go to a supermarket, you know, well, if I see Alpaca, it's good. I mean, Salt got a very good reputation. It's certainly in the supermarkets, whether it be things like the Tram or the ICAT, the double IPAs you can get in Tesco, or no, I think the Tram may be Morrison's actually, but definitely the ICAT. Obviously this Alpaca, Huckleback is not bad. They're all very sort of solid beers, you know. They're a bit like, for me, you know, a little bit like North maybe, in terms of you know, you're going to get a good beer. Whether you get a great beer, I think this is close to it. This is up there with those Northern Monk beers. I think in the last review I said that the best beer, the only other beer in the supermarkets which was equal to this was probably Faith in the Futures, and I would stick with that, you know, still with any of the Northern Monk ones. They are really, really good. So, Salt Alpacca. Have you had it recently? I can find my can where I've got it. See this very sort of green, very striking sort of can. You won't miss that one in the supermarkets in Asda. And let's say £3. I think it's got really good value for money beer. Would I give it 87? I still think I'd give it a highly recommended. Still be the Iron Maiden of beers. But whether it would be as high as 87, I mean, there's not many beers that review across the whole of the channel that go up above 87. But it's a good beer, and it's still one of the best beers you can buy in the supermarket. So, Salt Alpacca. Let me know if you've had it recently. Let me know if you've had it, you know, 2 years ago when I first reviewed it, and whether you think it's changed at all, or is it just still the same beer. I'm interested to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. And until the next one, you know what you're going to do. Drink good beer and keep on rocking.